Coffee on the Radio Vision Network. I am Mark Cook, and we are moving right along on this fine Tuesday morning, and we are super excited because we are talking to two of the hottest and up-and-coming musicians out there. Her name is Lise. His name is Mark Water. Good morning to the both of you.
Morning.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So these guys are so excited to be here. We had actually a great interview off the air that we started with. So now we're going to take it on the air, and we are going to talk all about you guys. We're really happy that you came in this morning because you guys have so much going on. This is really exciting, right?
Yeah, we're very excited.
This is a fun time.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about your plans. I know that in the fall we have a big album coming out, right?
Yeah, so my debut full-length album is coming out, I guess, like end of the summer. I still have to set a release date, but it is coming. And then in support of that album, we're going on tour across the country.
That's so fun.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
Have you guys done a big tour like that yet, or is this going to be the first one? Or
This will be the first
one.
big one, yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Are you going to be driving, Mark, or are you going to let her drive?
We're both gonna
I'll-
drive.
You're going to
will
alternate
be-
driving?
I will be at the helm of the Jimmy.
The Jimmy,
The
yeah.
Jimmy.
I have a 1994 GMC Jimmy.
Oh, that is awesome.
It's very
Anybody that drives a car from the 90s is my friend. I drive a car that was built in the 90s too.
Awesome.
It has 225,000 miles
Yes.
on it, and I'll be darned if I'm going to get rid of that car, because I'm not.
Don't ever get rid of it.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm literally, it's going to die on the side of the road, and that's how I'm going to get rid of it. But enough about my stupid Honda Accord. Guys, so we're gearing up for this tour. We're gearing up for the album, but there had to be a lot of stuff that's kind of built up to this, right? That's led up to this moment. So let's talk about the background. Let's start maybe individually on how we got really into this and decided that that's what you want to do, and then talk about how you guys met up and decided that you wanted to make your sounds together.
Totally. So I've been playing. You want like the way back origin story?
Whatever,
Like,
hey Liz,
way
whatever you
back?
want to tell me.
We're talking like 3-year-old lip syncing to the Beatles
Yes.
on a red and yellow rug.
That's awesome.
Oh
Because
my
it slid a
gosh.
little bit.
That's good.
Well,
That's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, because all of us that do kind of like the creative and the arts, and we were just talking to, I was just talking to an author. We have these things from when we were younger that like everybody would look at it and be like, that's so weird. Like, you used to lip sync to the Beatles when you were 3 years old. Like, that's like, okay, it's like a goofy kid thing to do, but you were actually beginning to start to express yourself in a real creative way.
Yeah.
I used to do that stuff too. My parents would be like, go away with your guitar and your sunglasses trying to think you're singing Johnny Be Good or whatever. Like, and obviously I got encouraged to do whatever I wanted to do, but I was the youngest too. So like anything I did, it was always viewed as like, just get out, right? So like when you're young and you're unsure of like all of the path ahead of you, it's really hard because you get distracted and all of these things kind of interfere with the goal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the dream, and just the general idea that, look, I want to share my music with the world, and I'd like to make a living at it, but that's not going to be my end all be all. My end all be all is to share my message and to share my art with the world, and I can tell almost just by meeting you for a few minutes that that's the approach you guys are taking.
I'm all about the money, Mark.
Oh yeah, I can tell.
Yes,
I can tell that about you.
That's absolutely
Bottom line.
bottom line. No, that's absolutely that's very beautifully said. Yeah, well, both my parents are musicians. My dad is a composer and arranger and producer, and my mom is an awesome singer. And that's how they met, in a wedding band. And so it's just kind of always been around. My dad actually told me that the other day he used to sing perfect intervals to me. So I guess like I didn't have any choice. He was just like, you must be a musician.
Yeah.
He would sing like intervals to me and my brothers growing like when we were really little. And yeah, I started playing piano when I was like 5, and then violin, and then guitar, and I was an angsty teenager writing really bad songs with 2 chords.
Right.
And they didn't rhyme, and they were just like really bad freeform poems. But I kept doing it, and I'd like to think they got better.
Of course.
And here I am.
Yeah, I mean, it's all part of the process, because you have to at least put yourself out there and try
Yeah, exactly.
before you really find your groove and what
Exactly.
you know your style and all of that stuff. So yeah, there's always going to be a lot of trial and error with with anything like that.
Yeah.
So you know, you're lucky though, because a lot of times when you grow up in that environment, you kind of slingshot the other way. You're like, I'm around music so much, like I
well,
can't.
that's kind of what happened in a way. Like when I went to college, I didn't study music. I studied cultural anthropology, and I always just did music and everything else I did kind of on the side, like with bands and stuff
Right.
at school. And then I really didn't think I was going to pursue music, and then I graduated, and it just kind of started happening. So, and I'm really glad it did.
Yeah, it's
Excited
it's
about it.
amazing how life works and the paths that you take. I
Yeah.
told you guys a little bit about my background and where I am now to where I was back then is a completely different place. I didn't
Yeah.
do anything back
Right.
then that has geared me towards today. It's a little. I'm like one of
Except
those.
it has in a
Except
weird
that it
way,
has in a
right?
weird way.
Funny.
Yeah, but you know, when I tell people that I have a degree in economics,
Mhm.
and then I tell people that I'm a professional actor, they don't. There's a large disconnect there, right? It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
But then when I tell them the next piece that Rowan University eliminated economics as a major after my class, I was the last class. Now, I don't know what that says about me. I think it says volumes, but yeah, they were like, oh, okay, so if this guy can graduate with an economics degree, we can't offer it to anyone.
No more.
No one else can ever get an economics degree from this school
Degree
because that guy,
inflation, yeah.
that guy did. But your path takes you in so many different directions and so many different ways that unless it's really ingrained in you, there's too many distractions that could take you off your path. So I got your path. That sounds like
It
a
was
really
almost unavoidable, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. It is funny to look back at it, and like I made choices that I didn't think would lead me to pursuing music as a career.
But here you are,
still,
right?
It just happened, and it's kind of
Mark. And how about you? Were you geared towards music your whole life as well?
I think so. My dad's always been really into music, and my mom too. My dad would always be playing the band or Bob Dylan, there's always music happening.
Right.
And he likes to pretend that he can't sing and he'll like goof around, but
Right.
he like actually can.
Yeah.
But I actually remember one moment I guess in 7th grade I was gonna quit baritone horn because I didn't like playing the baritone horn, and
Right.
and my mom said, no, well, you have to do something musical. So I went and tried out for the choir, and the teacher we had there was this like kind of awesome, crazy guy who
Right.
was all about professionalism, and I feel like he taught us so
Yeah, he
much.
kinda gave
and
that
like
to
that
you.
moment of my mom just being like, no, you have to do music in some way.
Right. And that's nice that it happened that way, because you probably felt a little pressure or forced to do
Right.
it, but then it turned into a really good experience. So it's almost like, well, I hate that she made me do it,
Right,
but
right.
now that I did it, I kind of
I
like
like
it.
it.
Right, exactly.
Right, and you're like,
Yeah.
that
Wow.
kid, it's like, oh, she was right. But look, I mean, a lot of people are like me. Growing up, I played the piano and I played the alto saxophone. I played all the way until I became a freshman in high school, and then I was the one that was, I can't do it because it's not cool,
right.
right? I got to go play soccer because that's cool, right? And sports and all this other stupid stuff that I had no business doing. When
I wish I could play soccer.
when I absolutely should have continued with my music. And then years later, like a few years ago, I was really kind of reflecting on that and mad about it, so I went and bought a piano. Because I'm going to start playing again.
Yeah.
I went and bought an acoustic guitar. So I'm going to teach myself how to play the guitar. Because now I've come full circle, right? I don't
Right.
give a crap about any of that stuff anymore, about being the jock, right? Comfortable in your skin and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I buy a piano with a cracked soundboard. Yeah, that's how things go for me, right? This thing sounds horrible. The guy delivered it, which was nice, but I'm still out $500.
Oh,
I gotta. Anyway, I've rambled us into a break, so I gotta take a quick break, guys. We'll come right back. We'll talk more about what's happening with you guys, and maybe we'll hear a song. I don't know. We'll see. So make sure you stick around here on Morning Coffee on the Radio Vision Network. We'll be right back.
When it's time for Jersey Mike's to make a really great sub, this is what we do. It's what we've been doing. It's what we've always done. It's what we'll always do. So what are you doing? Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
Today's show has been sponsored by More Than Gifts. Come see our new location in Marlton, New Jersey. Not just gifts, but more.
Today's show was brought to you by Alicia Kelly of White Horse RV Center in Williamstown, New Jersey. Alicia is your RV expert. Contact Alicia at alicia@whitehorserv.com or give her a call at 856-262-1717, extension 203. When you think of RV, think Alicia Kelly.
Extra Innings is the nation's premier indoor baseball and softball training center, featuring indoor batting cages, 7 multi-use tunnels, and training rooms. Extra Innings can provide professional instruction, private and group lessons, and the best year-round clinics. Along with a nationally recognized pro shop that features the latest and widest selection of equipment and apparel, our experienced staff can provide you with the right instruction and help you find the best equipment for your ability and budget. Extra Innings, where the game never ends.
When it's time for Jersey Mike's to give a sub some sizzle, this is the way. The way it's always been. The way it always should be. The way it always will be. Because that's just the way it's supposed to be. Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
Today's show has been sponsored by More Than Gifts. Come see our new location in Marlton, New Jersey. Not just gifts, but more. Today's show has been sponsored by Farmers Insurance in Voorhees, New Jersey. To protect your assets and the people you love, call Mike Skoranek, your local Farmers Insurance agent, at 856-336-2553.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Welcome back to Morning Coffee. We are moving right along here on this fine Tuesday morning on the Radio Vision Network. We're talking to Liz and Mark. We're talking about their lives and music, and it's been a really amazing journey so far, but what's really exciting about it and what's really cool is that the journey is kind of, as much as it's been going, it's kind of just getting started. You guys have a lot going on, a lot coming up, and one of the things that I wanted to talk about now, because I want to make sure that everybody out there can get in touch with your stuff. Where do I hear your music?
Well, you could go to www.lizdelise.com. That's a good spot. And the new album will be up there, and it'll be on iTunes and all the other places where people consume music these days.
Right.
YouTube. But yeah, lizdelise.com is a good place to start.
That's nice and easy. That's great that you were able to secure that website that
Yeah.
no other Liz DeLise was like, I want that. You had to wrangle it from her because
Yes.
there are a lot of Mark Cooks out there, believe me.
Yes, I would
Right?
believe it.
And bookmark Cook. Now the double entendre, right? Like the bookmark, right?
Bookmark.
Yeah, that's what happens when markcook.com isn't available, right? You gotta get creative and confusing, and that's what happened for me. So, you know, this is kind of like an interesting time that we live because music is so much more readily available, and it's so much easier now. There's positives and negatives to that.
Yeah.
What do you guys? How do you guys feel about the current dynamics and how music is delivered to the audiences these days?
Well, I think it's wonderful that there's just so much more access. You know, I think that there was a time, especially, well, I think about recording and stuff. Yeah, and like how there was a time when, you know, you had to go to a studio and there's like a handful of people that knew the art and knew the craft.
Right.
They knew it really well, or you hoped they knew it well because you were paying them a lot of money to do it.
Right.
And now, you know, you can buy like really high-end equipment and use it in your own home, which I mean, and you do that, and you can probably speak more to
Yeah,
that.
well, I was talking with a few people a few months ago about how I think the ability to record yourself at home really has let a lot more people write great albums because
Yeah.
you know it's not about do I have the material that I'm willing to pay like
Right.
thousands of dollars for, and I think there's still a great benefit to, you know, going somewhere and working with a professional, but at the same time sometimes you just can't do that.
Right.
Or sometimes the songs are happening and you just want to record them.
Yeah.
People can make albums in a day now.
Yeah.
And they can be great.
Yeah, and it's a neat dynamic that we live in, and when people use the technology for good rather than evil, right?
Yeah, you hope that they're, yes,
Yeah.
it still comes out like professional quality. I think, and that's the danger too, is like, I feel like the bar, unfortunately, like I guess the more negative side of it is like the bar has been lowered as far as like quality and standard.
Right.
Like,
Right, because everybody feels like they can do it, and they're just
Right.
putting whatever they put out.
Right. So I think it's important because you can like disseminate so much information like all over the place and like very quickly. You have to be a little more prudent
Yeah.
about what
More
you're
discerning,
putting out there.
yeah.
More discerning. I think that's important.
That's a good way. That's a good
Yeah.
way to look at it, because you're right. But the one thing that I always am constantly fascinated by, and I'm learning it, and I'm seeing it more and more now, is how many talented people there are out there,
It's amazing.
right?
Yeah,
Like
it's
you always knew. You always kind of knew that in the back of your mind, I think, because you see so many fabulously talented people. But then, like, now you're encountering them, right, in your day-to-day lives.
Right.
I'm encountering them in my day-to-day life, and it's intimidating in one way, but it's really exciting,
It's inspiring.
inspiring
yeah,
in
it's cool.
another way, because these are the collaborators, right? We want to be associated with people of very high talent because that raises your talent levels, right? And that's the really cool part about the dynamic of being a creative artist. Are there anybody that you've gotten the chance to work with, or that you've spent time with, that you've been kind of, I don't want to put you on the spot, but just, something that I came across. We were doing a gig in a place, and the guy there that was playing before us was, somebody that stuck with you, or I once met somebody backstage, and any stories like that? Any cool roundabouts?
I can think of a couple. When I was 12, my brothers are both awesome musicians, and my brother John DeLise wrote a song that Patti LaBelle ended up using on one of her albums.
Really?
Yeah, and my dad wrote the string arrangement, and it was very cool. I was little at the time. I didn't really know who Patti LaBelle was at the time. I didn't really understand
A Philadelphia legend,
deal,
Patti
right,
LaBelle,
yeah.
right?
And so I remember, I went to the studio with my dad. I think I was like 12. Went to David Ivory's studio, and I think it's in Glenside. I can't remember exactly what town it is in PA, but I was like reading Harry Potter, just kind of being like a cranky 12-year-old, and then like Patti LaBelle comes in, and she's just like full of energy and life, and then she's in the studio, and I was like totally captivated because I hadn't really seen a singer of her caliber, like in the studio before, and it was so striking to me. And my dad kind of brought me up to her, and he was like, so she wants to be a singer, and because I guess I had probably like talked about it. I was 12. Like, what did I really know what I wanted? And she was like, well, if you want to be a singer, you need to be and then insert expletive here. And my dad was like, oh no! I'll never forget that.
Patti LaBelle cursed at me when I was 12.
But it was so cool, and I've held that with me because I like. The sentiment is important, you have to like be strong and stick your
Right.
and
She wasn't saying it to be disparaging. She was saying it because
cool.
you need to have, on top of the talent, you need to have a little bit of an edge and wherewithal, and knowing kind of where you stand, and not allow people to kind of like push you around.
Yeah, knowing what kind of artist you want to be and how you're going to be.
Right, and that comes off that way, right? I know exactly what word she said. That comes off that way.
We'll let you know later. Yeah.
Mark, we'll tell you after.
Thank you.
But like it can come off that way, and I'm sure there are many times throughout her career where somebody was like, "Oh man, she's such a," and when you're a talented professional, you're gonna encounter that. So, Mark, any stories like that with on your side?
Well, I was just gonna say one of my favorite albums for a while was this album by this band from New Jersey that is unfortunately no longer together, but they're called Your Gentlemen, and I'm lucky enough that they just happen to be friends of my friends, and I met the lead singer, and he's just like one of my very close friends, and I'll go to his house and we'll just like write music, and I think he thinks I'm being nice.
Right.
And I'm like, this is literally one of my favorite albums.
Right.
And I don't think you know how many of those play counts on like the Spotify.
Yeah, they're mine. Yeah.
Like, I don't think you know.
Yeah, and that's a kind of the thing, is that like sometimes guys don't realize how impactful and how special their music can be to somebody. Like to him, it probably was like, oh yeah, it's my album and the band's not really together anymore
Yeah,
and like all this stuff. But to you, it was really special and it meant something.
It's like, I'm still like, this one though. Like, have you heard
Yeah,
this one?
listen to this one again. This one I really like because blah blah blah. And it's the power that music has, and that's what's so cool is that you can see how music can unite people, and you can see how music can put you in different time and place, and it's such a powerful tool to be able to manipulate. And I think the people that can do it very well really hold a great power, and that's what you guys do. It could be overwhelming, right?
We're like extremely powerful. Very, very difficult to control.
Yeah, I could tell that. But sometimes you have to. I was talking to somebody recently. You have to balance all this stuff. You have to understand the power that you have and not be kind of like a jerk about it or operate in a way that you feel like you're like above everyone. But understand that, Mark, your creative process is different than everyone else's,
Right.
and that if people recognize and appreciate your sound, it's because of that process, right? And that's where
It's hard to remember that. It's easy to kind of be like, oh, it's just my process. Like it's not. I do it all
Right.
the time. It's not a big deal. But
Right.
it's important to remember. That.
it's always good to take a step back and kind of reevaluate and think about the bigger picture. I'm running up against the break, but I think I'm going to bother Keith when I ask another question real quick. So you guys have a lot of gigs coming up.
Yeah.
How about down the shore? Do you guys play down the Jersey Shore at all?
We haven't. So Mark and I recently started playing together. It's been like a little over a month that he started playing.
Oh, wow,
bass and
real
singing with
new.
me. So
Okay.
it's really fresh. Like I've been doing stuff in Philly for like a little over a year.
Okay.
And Mark has been doing other stuff in Philly for like a couple of years.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we joined forces pretty recently. So we have yet to go down the shore, but we have a lot of Philly gigs and New York shows, and like we're gonna go up to New England a bunch this summer too.
Yeah, I have a feeling that your sound would play really, really well down the shore. Maybe one of those afternoon happy hour type things.
That sounds great.
Does that sound cool?
That sounds
I like
awesome.
Let's work on that. Maybe we can
that.
set that up.
Jersey Shore, we're looking at you.
So here's what we're gonna do. Sea Isle in particular, Sea Isle City. I'm looking at you. Look, I don't want to have to go more than 40 blocks. All right. So Sea Isle City is where I want you guys to
Perfect.
be.
Sounds nice.
Perfect.
So when we come back, we're gonna take another quick break, and then when we come back, maybe you guys will play a song for us.
Yeah.
Awesome. So stick around. We'll be right back on Morning Coffee on the Radio Vision Network.
Simply Gents, located in Marlton, New Jersey, takes care of all your grooming needs, including haircuts, straight razor shaves, massages, facials, manicures, pedicures, and waxing. To find more information or book an appointment, visit us online at www.simplygents.com. The secret weapon of a well-groomed man, Simply Gents.
When it's time for Jersey Mike's to make a really great sub, this is what we do. It's what we've been doing. It's what we've always done. It's what we'll always do. So what are you doing? Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
Today's show has been sponsored by More Than Gifts. Come see our new location in Marlton, New Jersey. Not just gifts, but more.
Today's show was brought to you by Alicia Kelly of White Horse RV Center in Williamstown, New Jersey. Alicia is your RV expert. Contact Alicia at whitehorserv.com or give her a call at 856-262-1717, extension 203. When you think of RV, think Alicia Kelly.
Extra Innings is the nation's premier indoor baseball and softball training center, featuring indoor batting cages, 7 multi-use tunnels, and training rooms. Extra Innings can provide professional instruction, private and group lessons, and the best year-round clinics. Along with a nationally recognized pro shop that features the latest and widest selection of equipment and apparel, our experienced staff can provide you with the right instruction and help you find the best equipment for your ability and budget. Extra Innings, where the game never ends.
When it's time for Jersey Mike's to give a sub some sizzle, this is the way. The way it's always been. The way it always should be. The way it always will be. Because that's just the way it's supposed to be. Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
Today's show has been sponsored by More Than Gifts. Come see our new location in Marlton, New Jersey. Not just gifts, but more. Today's show has been sponsored by Farmers Insurance in Voorhees, New Jersey. To protect your assets. Simply Gents, located in Marlton, New Jersey, takes care of all your grooming needs, including haircuts, straight razor shaves, massages, facial, manicures, pedicures, and waxing. To find more information or book an appointment, visit us online at www.simplygents.com. The secret weapon of a well-groomed man, Simply Gents.
When it's time for Jersey Mike's to make a really great sub, this is what we do. It's what we've been doing. It's what we've always done. It's what we'll always do. So what are you doing? Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
Today's show has been sponsored by More Than Gifts. Come see our new location in Marlton, New Jersey. Not just gifts, but more.
Today's show was brought to you by Alicia Kelly of White Horse RV Center in Williamstown, New Jersey. Alicia is your RV expert. Contact Alicia at whitehorserv.com or give her a call at 856-262-1717, extension 203. When you think of RV, think Alicia Kelly.
Welcome back to Morning Coffee. We've had such an awesome morning so far. Oh, I'm Mark Cook, by the way, and this is the Radio Vision Network, and we're continuing with Liz and Mark. And this has been such a fun morning so far, and it's thanks to these guys because I'm learning so much, and you guys are really cool and interesting people, and it's always fun to talk to cool and interesting people. But before, I want you to play a song. You sound so awesome. I got this little treat to hear you guys warm up, and even that was great. So. But I think you want to make sure that people get the right impression of what they're going to see you when they come see you at a show. So why don't you guys talk about that dynamic a little bit?
Sure. So I usually have an electric guitar, although I love playing my acoustic too. It's my baby. I usually have an electric, and I use a loop pedal, which just allows me to create layers with electric guitar and my voice. So when I was playing on my own, I wanted to get a looper because I wanted to create the illusion of having like multiple people,
right?
But just myself, So like creating layers with that, and then and now Mark is playing with me, and he's playing electric bass and singing, which has it's this really neat element of like you have like the recorded voices on my looper, and then it's beautiful live voice, which is.
It sounds excellent. It sounds very cool. So it's an electric bass, electric guitar. So then you're using your loopers, and you're creating so many layers, and then you're putting your sound on top of your voice is on top of that.
Yeah,
it's
fun.
You guys, how proud are you of the sound that you're developing? Right, you guys are. I mean, let's be real about it, okay?
Yeah.
You guys are fairly new collaborators, right? There's always an evolution when you get together with somebody. You get together because you like what they do, or you like how they sound, like how they work, whatever the reason is. But then there's always that little bit of a process to where you really feel like you get on the same page. I feel like you guys are, if you're not there yet, you're well on your way to that. So what's it like? How does it, try to put it into words, because I know that it's hard, what it feels like when you know you're putting out something you feel really good about? I just exploded
I
Mark's
know it.
brain.
No,
I'm
I-
so sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm feeling a little bit of the feeling.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
I'm
That's
thinking
cool.
about that. I mean,
Yeah.
that's I think being able to go on stage and perform something that not only sounds good to the people listening, but that sounds good to you. That you get to perform and hear your own sound is just like that. I think that's where I'm happiest. is on
Yeah,
stage.
that's a really nice way to put it, because when you're happy with the sound, that the people that you're trying to make happy with the sound, when it all works together, there's no feeling like it. I know stage guys. I know what a stage is like. It's the
Yeah.
best, right? It's so cool. So without further ado, I'd love for you to play us a song.
Totally. So the song's called More, and it's going to be on the aforementioned album, which is just going to be self-titled.
Great.
Everything is so big, like a river. We cross it every day. Everything is so big, I close my eyes. And there's more. There's more. Everything was so big it overflowed and paved the ground at your feet. That tree was me, oh, and that building too. Oh yeah, that car was you when you cried more. You want more. How much can one world hold? Shouldn't it all spill out onto the sidewalk there? Evaporate in the air. It's like it never was. Effect and cause. Oh, I want more. I want more. How much can one rain hold? Shouldn't it all spill out onto the sidewalk there? Evaporate in the air.
Wow, that was, I wish there was like this big studio audience here because they were going crazy. Guys, that was so good.
Thank you.
You have such an amazing sound.
Thank you.
It is so, that song is, I got to hear it twice, which is awesome. And I was like, I was just so drawn into it. It's just, it's so good. You guys are never gonna come back and see me again. I know. You're gonna be too big. You're gonna say, "Oh, that guy's a clown." I can already hear it. It's just terrible. How do I keep you here and your talents and make sure?
Gosh, do you have food?
I can get you some food. I think I
gonna
found your favorite spot. I already know where to go. There's one right around the corner. But no, guys, I wish you the best of luck with touring, with the album, with everything. Please, before you get too big, come back, see us again. play us more songs. This is so great. Again, LizeDeLise.com. You saw her name up there on the screen. Make sure you go to her website and check out all of the information. Mark, thank you for being here. Liz, thank you so much for joining us this morning. This was awesome. We really appreciate it. This was another great morning coffee on the Radio Vision Network. Unfortunately, we've got to sign off for another day, but we will be back tomorrow with more great stuff. I'm Mark Cook. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for watching.